So while growing up, I heard a lot about God from my parents, school, and church, and the stories were just so intriguing for me. Imagine hearing about someone walking on water, raising the dead, healing the blind, and the multiplication of bread and fishes. And I loved fish. These stories were so interesting for me that I had to look for book of Bible stories from my classmates just to read more about the stories. However, I grew to a point where I realized that I had to go beyond hearing about God and reading about God to knowing God personally. It's just like you heard about Catherine Kuma, her ministry, her life, her miracles, and all of that. It's a different experience from someone that had a close relationship with her. Say a friend. This friend would know her do's, don'ts, her likes, dislikes, and how to communicate with her effectively. This is the same thing that God desires of us, that we would have that close and personal relationship with Him. How I developed my personal relationship with God was by studying the Word of God regularly. And this time I wasn't reading it as stories anymore, but I was reading each verse as life lessons that I needed to know, to understand, and to apply in my life. Also, I had a good prayer life, and I surrounded myself with friends that were believers who would study the Word of God together, would pray together, ask questions for clarity, and I had an accountability partner who would encourage me to study the Word and pray even when I wasn't in the mood. God desires that we have an intimate and personal relationship with Him. There are so many false doctrines and teachings out there, and if you don't have a personal relationship with God, you would be led astray and you will solely rely on someone telling you about God and His plans for your life when you can also know God personally and access the same information. So get an accountability partner today and start knowing God personally.